To you wherever you may be. Dodgers at home welcoming the Cincinnati Reds with open arms, and you can understand why. And a special night as Jason Schmidt makes his way to the mound, the big 6'4", 210-pounder, who's 36 years old, out of Lewiston, Idaho, and now lives up in the state of Washington, returns to the mound in the big leagues for the first time since the 16th of June, 2007. Everybody who has been following the game knows all about the trials and tribulations of Jason Schmidt, and it will be interesting indeed to see how he goes tonight. One of the things that Joe Torre said about Jason Schmidt before the game, he said, "We are not going to skip anyone despite the off day on Thursday. Schmidt is penciled in for his next turn." So Jason goes out tonight, and the Dodgers hoping he will do well, and then he'll come back on 5 days rest and go again. Here's the Cincinnati Reds lineup. Willie Taveras leading off in center field, and Jerry Hairston the shortstop. Joey Votto is at first base, and Brandon Phillips at second. Lance Nix in left field. Edwin Encarnacion at third base. Chris Dickerson in right field. Ryan Hannigan behind the plate, and Micah Owings on the mound. Dusty Baker comes back to Dodger Stadium, and it's rather interesting that Dusty would return on the night that Jason Schmidt comes back for the Dodgers, because Dusty was the manager of the San Francisco Giants in 2002 when Jason Schmidt was the best postseason starter the Giants had. He was 2-1 in 4 October starts, dominated the league championship series over the Cardinals, outdueling Woody Williams, allowed 4 hits and a walk while striking out 8. And then for Dusty Baker in the World Series, he was the winning pitcher in Game 1 in Anaheim against the Angels. Of course, coming into this game, the numbers tell you a rather overwhelming story. The fact that the Dodgers have beaten the Reds 9 straight times here at Dodger Stadium. Over the last 20 games, the Dodgers have won 17 of the 20. But as tough as the Dodgers have been on the Reds, how about the Brewers? They have beaten the Pirates 18 straight. In Milwaukee, the Marlins have beaten the Nationals 10 straight in Florida. So Jason Schmidt is ready, and the first pitch to Willie Taveras, in for a strike, and we're underway. Willie Taveras, a speedster, hitting .250, 1 home run, 12 runs batted in. If you are on the defensive against Taveras, you have to look bunt, and this time he takes an X pitch in there. So Schmidt jumps right out in front, no balls and 2 strikes. Taveras is from the Dominican. Last year he stole 68 bases in 75 attempts. He takes in the dirt. That would be a 91% success rate, and that's the best ever since they've been keeping track of stolen bases. 1-2 the count to Willie Taveras. 27 years old, has a look at another one low. 2-2 the count. Taveras, a Christmas baby, born Christmas Day in 1981. So Jason Schmidt, in his career, 4-2 lifetime against the Reds, and his 2-2 pitch is swung on and foul back. It will be interesting to talk about velocity with Jason Schmidt. No one expects him to hit 90 or throw as hard as he used to. So if ever a pitcher goes to the mound and trying to beat you with his experience and with his thinking game, it will be Jason Schmidt. So 2-2 the count to Willie Taveras, who has a 6-game hitting streak, fouls another one off, and the count stays. For Taveras, he's also hit safely in 15 out of 18. He has the best stolen base success rate, even surpassing Tony Womack of the Pirates a few years ago, who had 89%. Taveras takes a little low, and Jason Schmidt goes 3-2. So Jason perhaps on a pitch count of up to 100 pitches. It depends on the Reds, I guess. 3-2 pitch to Willie Taveras is swung on and hit into left center field and deep. Manny Ramirez, along with Matt Kemp, watching the ball bounce off the wall. Taveras is flying, and he's into third with a triple. So Willie Taveras, who might have been bothered by a hamstring for the last couple of weeks, but he really let out on that triple. It's his second of the year. Long drive into deep left center field. Matt Kemp over with Manny Ramirez, but neither man had a chance to make a play on it. So Taveras opens up with a triple. Not a very nice way for Jason Schmidt to begin. And the batter now is Jerry Hairston. Meanwhile, Dusty Baker out and talking to the plate umpire, and that would be the senior umpire, Jerry Lane. And Jerry going out to the mound now to talk with the other umpires. So timeout here in the very beginning of the ball game as Willie Taveras triples off the wall in left center field. Take another look. They're, I think, talking about the ball hitting the top of the left center field wall, bouncing high in the air and then coming back. And they're actually going to look at the video review. But the ball did hit the top and come back. And there wasn't a question of a fan reaching over or being able to touch it. But nevertheless, this is what they passed the rule for months ago, that when you get into a tough call on a home run or otherwise, I think what Dusty thought was that the ball hit beyond the fence and came back onto the field. But in looking at the videotape, it certainly appeared like it hit the top of the wall and then came back to Matt Kemp. We can show it again. Both Ramirez and Kemp just looking up at the ball, and as it lands, you know, the top of the wall is padded, and it would appear to have hit the pad, and they're trying to show it on the videotape how it hit the pad and bounced. One thing about it, it sure bounced high off the padding, and maybe that was the thing that got Dusty Baker. Dusty might have thought if it hits the pad, it's like hitting oatmeal. It would just come down on the field. That thing went high in the air, so Dusty felt, wait a second, that'd be worth looking at. So Taveras is at least at third. Willie Taveras, by the way, this year only has one home run. So he just stands at third waiting to see whether he'll have number 2 or not. So timeout for the moment. The Dodgers wearing out the Reds, as we told you, and for that matter, Cincinnati hates to go to California. We give you another close-up on television, and it just looks like it hits the pad and goes high in the air. But we best wait on the umpire. They're really looking at the same thing we are. So Taveras visiting with Casey Blake to see whether it's a triple or a home run. Over the last 4 years, the Reds hate to come to California. Doesn't make any difference who they play out here. They are 11-28. In fact, Cincinnati has not won a game here since the 28th of July in 2005. They won a game beating the Dodgers 6-1. The pitcher, Brandon Clausen. Well, we're showing the umpires the videotape of the ball hitting the top of the left center field wall and then bouncing high in the air. And the umpires, led by the senior umpire, Jerry Lane, not showing any more indication. And now Jerry is calling Dusty Baker. Jerry's been an umpire in the big leagues for 20 years. Among other things, you know, Jerry was behind the plate when Fernando Valenzuela pitched his no-hitter. So Dusty Baker listening very calmly. Jerry Lane having a rather quiet, constructive conversation. And as usual, Johnny Lee Baker chewing on a toothpick. He never got over that habit. Jimmy Wynn was another fellow who played while chewing on a toothpick. So it'll settle for a triple. Jerry Lane holding up 3 fingers on his right hand. And Dusty goes back to the dugout. Big grin on the face of Willie Taveras. Casey Blake probably said something to him. Mark Berry is the third base coach for the Reds. He's somewhat of a local boy. He's from Oxnard and went to Oxnard Junior College. So welcome home, Mark. Okay, a runner at third, nobody out. And Jerry Hairston checking in at the plate. Hitting .252, 7 home runs, 25 runs batted in. Hairston takes high, ball one. 1-0 the count. Hairston, of course, from a great baseball family. His brother, Scotty Hairston, playing well for San Diego. He is the first third-generation black major leaguer in history. The 1-0 pitch swung on, fouled away. The bat goes out of his hands, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Rather a bizarre way to begin the ninth. So Hairston flies his bat into the Dodger dugout and have to go and get another one. Jerry's dad, Jerry Hairston Sr., played for 14 years in the major leagues with the Chicago White Sox. Not only did his dad play in the majors, his uncle John and grandfather Sam also did it. 1 ball and 1 strike the count as Hairston losing his bat, so timeout for the moment. Jerry, 33 years old, and originally signed by the Orioles out of Southern Illinois University. So a triple off the top of the left center field wall by Willie Taveras, and a swing and a bat going flying into the Dodger dugout, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. So Hairston back up and waiting. Stretching is Jason Schmidt, big guy ready and over the top, and it is swung on and fouled into the Dodger dugout. At the count 1-2. So Hairston shaking up the Dodgers one way or another, bat or ball. Hairston doing very well. Last 25 games hitting .277. Starting at shortstop when Alex Gonzalez went down with injury. Joey Votto on deck. Schmidt stretches, ready, comes over the top, and it is swung on and fouled away. This time at least not in the Dodger dugout. Back in the stands, and a 1-ball, 2-strike count. No score. We've just started. Willie Taveras tripled off the left center field wall. Hairston is at the plate. Joey Votto on deck. The big power hitter was Jay Bruce for Cincinnati. He's out with a fractured wrist. He had 18 home runs. The 1-2 pitch on the way is fouled the other way, off to the right out of play. So Jason Schmidt, as of right now, not able to throw the ball by the hitters. Not yet. We have not seen a swing and a miss. We've seen bats fly and everything else. 1-2 the count. Schmidt now has made 13 pitches with a runner at third, nobody out. Dodger infield is back to normal depth. They give up the run to get an out. And the 1-2 pitch is low and away in the dirt, blocked nicely by Russell Martin. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jason Schmidt, among other things, won 17 games for the Giants the year after Dusty left. Won 18 games for the Giants in 2004. And pitched with a lot of hurt. The 2-2 pitch on the way is swung on and pulled down the left field line, hooking in the corner, fair ball. So Taveras will score. Into second base with a booming double goes Hairston, and the Reds are on the board, leading 1-0.
First baseman, number 19, Joey Votto.
So Joey Votto will be coming up, and Hairston really turned on it. No doubt about the contact, and he hooked it way down the line. It actually hit the base of the box seats out there in left field. So 3 or 4 feet higher, and he would have had himself a home run. So Hairston a double, scoring Taveras, 1-0 in favor of Cincinnati. And the batter now is Joey Votto. V-O-T-T-O. Joey, left-hand hitter, can play first base and the outfield. And Jason Schmidt ready, bends a big curveball in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Joey Votto is from Toronto, Canada. Didn't really want to play hockey. All he wanted to do growing up in Canada was play baseball. It's kind of an upset. The strike one pitch on the way to Joey, hitting 347, and he takes low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Votto is well put together. He's 6'3", 220. He had LASIK surgery to improve his vision, and last year he did very, very well, and doing even better this year. 1-1 pitch on the way, and that's a little on the corner for a strike. 1-2. So Jason Schmidt gives up a triple, almost a home run to Taveras, a double to Hairston. Nobody out, 1-0 Reds, and Votto waiting at the plate. Joey 12 home runs, 44 runs batted in, and he swings and hits one in the air down the left field line. Manny Ramirez coming over to the foul line, and it's going to drop untouched. Manny, with a left-hand hitter up, was shading him towards left center, so he had a long way to go and couldn't quite catch up to it. So Votto is still there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Back in 2005, Joey Votto played for Canada in the World Cup games. Joey waiting. Schmidt set at the belt, down 1-0 first inning, and the pitch to Votto is taken inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Jason Schmidt coming back, trying his best to hook on, and of course the Dodgers could certainly use him. 2-2 pitch on the way to Votto, and it's a breaking ball that stayed up. Ball 3. 3-2 the count. Votto last year hit .292 against left-handers, .299 against right-handers, and he's doing even better, hitting .347 right now. So 3-2 the count. Out of a stretch goes Jason Schmidt, back with a fastball, and that's fouled away off to the left out of play, and the count stays 3-2 as that carries to the second deck. Schmidt making a lot of pitches now, and all of a sudden he's ready to make his 23rd pitch in the inning. Nobody out, a run in. Rick Honeycutt sweating him out as Schmidt hands together at the belt, and the 3-2 pitch to Joey Votto. The left-hand hitter swings and lines it to right. Back goes Efe, turns to play it off the wall. Holding up because he thought it might have been caught is Hairston. He goes to third on the long single by Joey Votto. So for Jason Schmidt, a rough way to start. Taveras triples, Hairston doubles, Votto hits the base of the right field wall with Hairston holding up and then advancing to third. So a single, double, and triple in the first inning, and the batter now is Brandon Phillips, and Phillips has been doing very well, hitting .265, 14 home runs, 62 runs batted in. He is hit safely in 6 of his last 7. So Brandon Phillips with first and third, nobody out, and the Reds really trying to get a jump on Jason Schmidt. So Votto, who is so consistent, lining a single to right, as Jason Schmidt, a breaking ball in the dirt. Nice save by Russell Martin. James McDonald is up in the Dodger bullpen. So Taveras triples, Hairston doubles him in. Votto singles off the right field wall, Hairston stopping at third, and here is Brandon Phillips. Phillips, second baseman, won a Gold Glove last year. Votto going, and the throw on a bounce gets off the glove of Castro, goes into shallow center. Scoring is Hairston, and taking third is Votto, and just like that the Reds lead 2-0. So Hairston scoring on the throw that got away. Castro tried to short hop it, it went off his glove. So Votto gets himself a stolen base and goes to third on the error. Hairston scoring, 2-0 Cincinnati, and a 1-ball 1-strike count. They'll give Russell Martin the error on that short throw. And the next pitch hit in the air to right center field and deep. Matt Kemp goes to the track of Ethier, and they're confused, and the ball lands in front of Ethier. A run is in, and out at second base is Brandon Phillips. There was some confusion out there in right center between Ethier and Kemp, and the ball winds up landing in front of Ethier. And maybe the boys had trouble with that bright powder blue sky overhead. But no matter what, it is suddenly 3-0 in favor of Cincinnati. Taveras triples, Hairston doubles, Votto singles, Steele second. Martin gets a throwing error, and then a fly ball to right field. And either Kemp and Ethier thought the other was going to catch it, or they both lost it in the sky, and it landed in front of Andre Ethier. And then Phillips thrown out trying to go to second base for the first out of the inning. Lance Nix, a left-hand hitter, fouls the pitch away. Nix hitting .250 with 8 home runs and 24 runs batted in. Lance Nix out of Houston, Texas, 28 years old, left-hand batter, and he hits a fly ball into right center field. Kemp sees this one and makes the catch for the second out. So 2 down in the first inning, 3-0 Reds. Will set the Dodgers defensively. Ramirez, Kemp, and Ethier. The infield of Blake, Furcal, Castro, and Loney. And the battery is Schmidt and Martin. 3-0 Reds. And Edwin Encarnacion checking in at the plate. Big right-hand hitting third baseman takes a breaking ball off the plate. 1 ball and no strike. Encarnacion, who was out for about 6 weeks with a bad wrist, hitting .217, and he takes high, ball 2. Encarnacion has 4 home runs, 15 runs batted in. Originally selected by the Rangers, but grew up as a big Dodger fan as he takes ball 3. He grew up in a beautiful area in the Dominican, very much of a resort area called La Romana. And he was a big Dodger fan. A 3-0 pitch, and that's inside, ball 4. So for Jason Schmidt, it has not been a dream. It has been more of a nightmare, as the Reds have scored 3. He has now made 33 pitches. So it's just a question of how long and how he feels before getting the last out in this inning. Chris Dickerson will be coming up to hit, and Rick Honeycutt has gone out to the mound. For Chris Dickerson, he's a local boy coming back home. Dickerson was born in Hollywood, California, lived in Long Beach and Sherman Oaks. His father, Sam Dickerson, played in the NFL, but contrary to popular belief, he is not related to NFL Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson. He grew up as a boyhood pal of former SC and current NFL quarterbacks Matt Leinart and Matt Castle. He played against them in Pop Warner. So Chris Dickerson, signed by the Reds out of the University of Nevada, came up briefly last year and now playing at Dodger Stadium tonight. 6'3", 225. Up there with Encarnacion at first, 2 out. 3-0 Reds. Schmidt delivers, and the pitch is low, ball 1, 1-0. So Dickerson, who made all the stops, Dayton and Sarasota, Chattanooga and Louisville, he has a website, kind of interesting. Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way, and that's a strike, 1-1. His website is focused on building awareness about the damage to the environment caused by plastic water bottles. Yeah, that's good for him. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Out of a stretch goes Schmidt. Now comes back 1-1. Little pop foul off third. Blake hustling over to get under it, and that's the inning. For the Reds, who haven't won here in a while, they get 3 runs on 4 hits, an error and 1 left, and they lead 3-0. stolen base and 3 runs. We take a look at the Dodgers now trying to get out from under. It'll be for call. Martin hits second in the lineup, and then Manny Ramirez. Andre Ethier followed by Casey Blake and James Loney. Matt Kemp, who had that remarkable day yesterday, followed by Juan Castro at second base and Jason Smith, the pitcher. On the mound for Cincinnati, Micah Owings out of Gainesville, Georgia, went to Tulane University, was a 3rd round pick by the Diamondbacks 4 years ago. Big guy is 6'5", 220, and is not as good a pitcher as he has been a hitter. He's been struggling on the mound. His first pitch to Rafael Furcal is inside, ball 1-1-0. Mike Owings has had a very rough month of July. He's won 1 game, and his earned run average is over 9. His next pitch to Furcal is low. The last game that Micah Owings pitched, he was really pushed around, though he is also pitching on 10 days rest. He started before the All-Star game. The 2-0 pitch on the way. Rafael Furcal taking all the way, and it's a strike. In his career, Owings has never pitched well in July. 1-6. Furcal batting .251. Micah's 2-1 pitch fastball slap bunt over the head of Encarnacion and down the line. Chased there by Hairston, who falls down. Furcal is into second base with a slap double over the third baseman's head. Normally, Rafael will slap it towards the shortstop. That time, he gave it a little downward bunt. It popped in the air. Encarnacion ran out from under it as he was racing towards home plate. And Furcal has a bunt double. And now Martin, Ramirez, and Ethier trying to pick him up. It was almost a triple because Hairston slid into the tarp roller down the line, and Furcal held up. So just like that, the Dodgers have a runner at second, and here is Russell Martin hitting .257, 2 home runs, 28 runs batted in, and Manny Ramirez on deck. Micah Owings hands it aside, looks down to get a sign. Martin waiting, and Owings out of his stretch. Micah ready, delivers, and the first pitch a little high, ball 1. As far as the Dodgers are concerned, Martin is 3 for 8 against Owings in the past. That would be a .375 batting average. Furcal was 3 for 8 and then bunted for a double. 1 ball and no strikes the count. 3-0 Reds, first inning. Martin, meanwhile, hits one in the air down the right field line, foul and out of play. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Martin with 28 RBIs, taking a shot to right field to try and move Furcal along. Dodgers with their 30-15 record at home and trying to improve against the Reds. Micah, whose first name Micah, set at the belt, looks back at Furcal, and the next pitch is a ground ball into left field, base hit. Furcal will be stopped at third as Lance Nix guns it into the plate. So the Dodgers have first and third, nobody out. Manny Ramirez representing the tying run coming up here in the first inning with nobody out. So Micah Owings still in the month of July and still agonizing. There are 2 particular guys in the Dodger lineup who wear him out. One is James Loney hitting .432 against him, and the other is at the plate right now, Manny Ramirez. Ramirez in his career against the Reds is hitting .386. So Owings right foot on the rubber. Martin a short lead at first. Furcal down the line from third. 3-0 Reds first inning. Owings delivers. Manny looks at a strike, and the count 0-1. Manny out of the box for the moment. Martin at first, Furcal at third. 3-0 Reds, bottom of the first inning. Now the strike one pitch coming up to Manning, and that's swung on and missed. Big swing and a miss, and the count 0-2. Micah just throwing that fastball up and by him. At 6'5" and 220, he can certainly do that. He was 6-9 with the Diamondbacks last year, 8-8 the year before. Ramirez waiting, 0-2 the count. Andre Ethier on deck. Owings comes back, and it is swung on and missed, and down goes Manny. So Ramirez, who struggled mightily in the Astros series against Houston, he was 2 for 14, high fastball, and just down he goes. So Ramirez is now 2 for 15 since coming to Dodger Stadium. And the batter is Andre Ethier. Ethier hitting .254, 18 home runs, 56 runs batted in, 1 for 8 in the past against Owings. Throw to first, Martin back on the bag. Waiting on deck, Casey Blake. Reds got 3 in the first inning against Jason Schmidt. Dodgers trying to come back, and they have first and third and 1 away. Owens out of a stretch, checks and delivers way outside. 1 ball and no strikes to Andre. Ethier in and out of the box. Andre in the Houston series was 4 for 11. 1 ball and no strikes. 3-0 Reds, first inning. The next pitch looked like a change, swung on and missed, and that really fooled Ethier. He was way out in front of it. When Michael was a senior in high school, he was drafted by the Rockies, but he passed on that and committed to go to Georgia Tech. He wanted to follow in the footsteps of his dad, who was a wide receiver for Tech and scored 13 touchdowns while he was at Georgia. 1 ball and 1 strike, and he was a big man on campus, but then he transferred, and he never really wanted to talk about it. Some personal reason he left Georgia Tech, wound up going to Tulane, said it was very difficult to transfer, but that's what he wanted, and that's what he got. Left-hand hitters last year hit .268 against him. Ethier slicing one down the left field line in foul ground, and is going to drop untouched. So the Dodgers hold with runners at first and third and 1 out. Lance Nix charging over, but never had a chance. Last year, Micah Owings in June injured his lower back. He was covering first base on a ground ball to the right side, and he was out from the 27th of June to the 10th of September. And he was, with no pun intended, sorely missed. Micah concentrating on Ethier. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Check of the runners at first and third. Now Owings delivers, and a fastball fouled away off to the left, out of play. Still 1-2 the count. Micah Owings against the Dodgers is 1-1 in his career. He lost to them, allowing only 1 earned run in 07, and he beat the Dodgers in April last year, allowing 3, though he is 1-1 in his career. 1-2 the count to Andre Ethier. Casey Blake waiting on deck. 3-0 Cincinnati. 1 out. We're in the bottom of the first inning, and the Reds lead 3-0. Owings now hands together, drops him down along the chest. Back to Ethier, who drives one to right field, moving over quickly, and he can't get it. It's Chris Dickerson. So Percal will score. Martin will stop at third, and Ethier will hold with a double. So from the way things are going, we're going to be here for a while, as the Dodgers not only get a run, but they now have the tying runs at second and third, and Casey Blake coming up. So Andre Ethier, line drive double into the gap in right center. It looked also like Chris Dickerson, had a lot of trouble seeing the ball. In fact, he threw his left hand up. I really thought he was going to be able to cut it off, but he had trouble seeing it. Remember, Ethier and Kemp had trouble earlier. So it is a tough time. Sunset time, the lights have not taken effect. Ethier with a double and a run batted in. And now here's Casey Blake with first base open. Casey looks at the first pitch, and that'll cost a strike. So the Reds had a triple, a double, 2 singles, and a walk, plus a stolen base. And the Dodgers come back so far with 2 doubles and a single. And it's 3-1 Reds in the first inning. The strike one pitch on the way, and that's whacked into left center field. So in comes Martin. The ball goes to the wall. In comes Ethier on a double by Casey Blake. And this is going to be a Pier 6 brawl. We have a 3-3 tie. Dick Pohl, the pitching coach for the Reds, going out to talk to Micah Owen. Leading the applause in the Dodger dugout, Manny Ramirez, who made the only out when he struck out. So Pohl, a veteran pitching coach, and he has to really be puzzled as to why Micah Owings is pitching so poorly in July. Remember, Owings' earned run average this month is over 9, and he comes in and gives up at least 3 in the first inning tonight. And the batter is James Loney, who has really worn out the Reds in his young career. Loney is hitting .432 against Cincinnati, hitting .276 with 7 home runs and 54 runs batted in. 3-3 in the first inning. And Mike Owings set at the belt, right-handed deals, and the first pitch is on the outside corner for a strike, off speed. Kevin Kuzminov hitting .417 against the Reds. Lyle Overbay at .409. Clint Barnes 400. We told you Manny was hitting .386 before he struck out. 0-1 the count to Loney. Owings out of his stretch. Micah delivers fastball, and that's in there for a strike. 0-2 the count. Micah Owings, and looking at his pitching numbers, 6 and 9, an earned run average of just about 5, and his walk to strikeout ratio is not good at all. More strikeouts to walks, but it's been a battle for him, you can tell. The strike 2 pitch on the way. Loney swings, flares it into right center. That's going to drop for a base hit. In comes the run, and the Dodgers lead 4-3 on a single by Loney to cash in Blake. Well, you can imagine the Cincinnati Reds bench. They know full well that they have lost 9 straight at Dodger Stadium. They also know full well they've lost 17 of the last 20 against the Dodgers. And Dusty sees his club get 3 in the first inning, and he's got to believe, well, maybe the law of averages are on my side. Maybe we finally pick up a victory. And instead, before he can even finish out the sentence, the Dodgers come back with 4 and lead 4-3. Matt Kemp, who had that brilliant day yesterday, takes a strike, and the count 0-1. You know, according to the Elias Sports Bureau, only one other player in the past 40 years has scored each of his team's runs in a game in which he crossed the plate at least 4 times, and that player is here tonight, believe it or not. That player, the great Eric Davis, who played so well for Cincinnati and also played for the Dodgers. Eric scored all 4 when the Reds beat Pittsburgh 4-3 a long time ago, 19 years ago. Kemp waiting on the strike 1 pitch. Matt takes low. Kemp hitting .321. Eric Davis is wearing a Cincinnati uniform. Boy, do they wish he could still play. And wearing his old number 44. He was truly a remarkable, gifted athlete. If I remember correctly, he had kidney problems. But boy, what a player. Wow. 1-1 the count to Matt Kemp. Out of a stretch goes Owings, and then Kemp backs out. What the Reds had to do, I'm sure you have to ask permission to have someone wearing a uniform and sit in the dugout. But of course, with Eric Davis, he belongs in any dugout. The 1-1 pitch on the way, low and away, ball 2. So Micah Owings really struggling. Gave up the bunt double to Furcal and a single left for Martin. Struck out Ramirez, only to give up that double to Ethier, and I believe Dickerson had trouble seeing that. Then Blake doubled, and then Loney singled him home. So 4 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers, 3 runs, 4 hits for the Reds. Kemp, meanwhile, lips one into shallow center. Backing out is Hairston, and coming in is the Santa Villa Taveras. And I'll tell you one player who had no idea where the ball was, and that was Brandon Phillips, the second baseman. So obviously it is tough out here at this hour, and especially for a visiting team and in the first inning of the game. So Juan Castro, the lad from Los Mochis, checking in. Owings has made 24 pitches, so we've already seen 60 pitches collectively, and we're in the first inning. Castro hitting .347 with a home run and 9 runs batted in. Waves at a pitch, doesn't get it. Castro, among other teams beside playing for the Dodgers, Juan also played for Cincinnati. He was at the Reds 2000 through 04, came back to them in 06, 7, and 8. Though I'm sure Juan has a lot of friends over in the Reds dugout. Strike one pitch way inside, almost hit him, and a great save by Ryan Hannigan behind the plate. So the starting pitchers not giving any indication that they're going to be around very long, and it's 4-3 Dodgers in the first inning. Micah Owings trying to get out of it with 2 down. Castro at the plate and Jason Schmidt on deck. Now the 1-1 pitch is instead a throw to first. Dodgers 4, Reds 3, first inning. 1 ball and 1 strike to Juan Castro. Owings turns, throws to first. Loney again back on the bag. Loney has stolen 6 out of 7, although you wonder about him running when you're this low in the lineup facing the number 8 hitter. 1 ball and 1 strike to Juan Castro. Here comes Owings, and the next pitch is a little low. 2-1 the count. Owings slowing down the pace, making Castro wait. Now the right-hander ready, in the 2-1 pitch, and that's in the dirt. Blocked nicely by Hannigan, and a 3-1 count. Owings, we mentioned before his numbers, so he is laboring quite a bit. Not only an ERA of 5, more hits than innings pitched, a lot of runs, 60 runs. He's walked 48 and struck out 57. That means he's really fighting it. 3-1 pitch is swung on, a little pop fly halfway to first base, and Joey Votto makes the catch, and that will do it. 7 men came to the plate for the Reds, 8 men came to the plate for the Dodgers, and at the end of an inning, it's 4-3 Dodgers. Second inning, after a very noisy first inning, we had collectively 15 batters, 7 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. Otherwise, a very quiet first inning. It'll be Ryan Hannigan, followed by Micah Owings, and then Willie Taveras in that order. For Jason Schmidt, a rocky first inning, but then he saw Micah Owings have an even rockier inning. So that has to settle him down a little bit psychologically. It can happen to anybody. And he makes his first pitch to Ryan Hannigan, in for a strike, 0-1. Hannigan, the catcher, batting .327, taking advantage of the knee injury to Ramon Hernandez. The strike one pitch on the way, and that's in there. Hannigan is from Washington, D.C. And Jason Schmidt jumps in front of him. No balls and 2 strikes. Schmidt into his windup. Strike 2 pitch over the top fastball that's high. He hits 87 on the fastball. Although in talking to scouts, most of them say that the Dodger gun is probably 2 miles per hour higher. And there's a pitch that hits Hannigan on the back of the head, right on the helmet. And so Ryan goes to first base, hit by the pitch. And it was a fastball at 85. So better to be hit by Jason Schmidt now than 6 years ago. And Hannigan just took it right on the helmet, on the back as he turned his head. Edgar Gonzalez was beamed last night in San Diego, and his brother Adrian was so shook up he had to leave the game to go to the hospital with Edgar. And Edgar's okay, except he does have some headaches, but Hannigan apparently is all right. So the batter is Micah Owings, and the first pitch, the big guy is swung on and fouled away. Edgar Gonzalez, by the way, was released from the hospital yesterday afternoon. 0-1 the count to Micah Owings, who is at a strange time in his career. As a big league pitcher, I think more people talk about his hitting than they do his pitching. He is hitting .244. He has 3 home runs, 9 runs batted in. He came to the deal from the D-backs that sent Adam Dunn to Arizona. Owings waiting, and a look over by Jason Schmidt. Back to Owings, who fouls it away upstairs down the line, and the count 0-2. 2 years ago, talking about Micah Owings swinging the bat, he hit .333. He had 4 home runs and 15 runs batted in. So Micah Owings with Hannigan at first, representing the tying run after being hit by the pitch. 0-2 the count. Schmidt delivers, big curveball in there, strike 3 call. 71-mile-an-hour deuce. So Schmidt picks up a strikeout, big bender up there, and then winds up right down there. And Owings is history, and that'll bring up Willie Taveras, who tripled off the top of the left center field wall, opening up the ball game, and scored on the double by Hairston. I remember when Lou Brock was marveling people playing in the National League, and the scouting report is that Brock would bunt at least once in every game. Taveras a full swing and a miss, and they count 0-1. I was talking to some people traveling with Cincinnati, saying, is Taveras bunting a lot? And they said no, and that's the problem. Why he isn't, nobody seems to know. But he can run like the wind. 2 years in a row he led the league in bunts, and he almost walked into that one trying to bunt. No bunt, no swing, says Tony Randazzo. And Willie Taveras thinking about, maybe I shouldn't bunt. Almost walked right into it. Taveras led the major league in bunts in 2005 and 2006. Though he always puts a lot of pressure on the infielders. Though Taveras back up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Schmidt ready and deals, and a breaking ball is hit into shallow center. Kemp coming in a hurry, makes a diving, sprawling catch for the out. Matt Kemp can do it all, and on a little fly ball, he needed his speed and his athletic ability, and he caught it just before it hit the grass. Fine play by Matt Kemp to bail out Jason Schmidt for the moment. And now the batter is Jerry Hairston, who doubled in the first inning. So Kemp saved Schmidt a base hit and more troubles. 2 down, second inning, 4-3 Dodgers. Schmidt set at the belt now as Hairston checks in. Jason ready, delivers, fastball, little high, ball 1, 1-0. Dodgers 4, Reds 3, top of the second inning. Giants lost, and the Rockies were beating up Arizona. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Schmidt out of his stretch. There's a bunt up along third, foul, and it's a 1 ball, 1 strike count. The Braves beat the Giants 11-3. Jonathan Sanchez, who had pitched a no-hitter recently, was not involved in the decision. Sergio Romo suffered the loss. Rockies are leading Arizona by the nose 10-1 in the 7th inning. Jim Tracy takes over at Colorado. They're hanging tough. They're 8 games above 500. Hairston back up, hitting .254. 7 home runs, 26 runs batted in. Schmidt out of his stretch. Jason ready and delivers. Breaking ball in the dirt. 2-1 the count. So Ryan Hannigan hit on the helmet. Owing strikes out. Taveras loses a hit on a diving catch by Kemp. And Hairston up there 2-1, trying to extend the inning with Joey Votto on deck. Now the 2-1 pitch of the right-hand hitting Hairston. Schmidt deliberate, now fastball, and that's in at the knees, and the count 2-2. Hairston is a very, very valuable guy to have around on a ball club. In fact, in his major league career, he's played every position but catcher and pitcher. And he did play those positions as an amateur. Hairston waiting at the plate, 33 years old. Swings, hits a ground ball to the left for a call. He shovels to Castro in time for the 4s. No runs, no hits, a hit batter and a man left. And at the end of an inning and a half, Dodgers 4, Reds 3. The bottom of the second inning. Jason Schmidt will make his first at bat in a couple of years, followed by Rafael Furcal and then Russell Martin. So Schmidt checks in at the plate, and Mike Owings looks down to start the second inning. Micah into his windup, and the right-handed spit is off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. Owings has a younger brother, John Mark Owings, who's a very good player. The 1-0 pitch on the way to Jason. He looks at a strike. John Mark got a full scholarship to Clemson out of high school, and then just recently signed with the Atlanta Braves. The 1-1 pitch coming up to Jason Schmidt is swung on and fouled away, and the count 1-2. There's another Owings boy. That would be the oldest brother, Josh, who operates a training facility that specializes on one-on-one sports specific training. That's where he got into yoga at the suggestion of his sister, who rides and shows horses on the equestrian circuit. Pitch to Schmidt inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dodgers 4 runs, 5 hits. Reds 3 runs, 4 hits. Noisy first inning. Owings ready, comes back to Schmidt. 2-2. It's swung on, popped in the air, back of first, down the line. A trio of Reds, and the ball will land untouched. And running up into the stands is Chris Dickerson. Boy, what great athletic ability. The right fielder was charging. He had Phillips on one side, he had Votto on the other. Couldn't stop, so he just jumped and went right up over the wall and running up the aisles. Quite a play by Chris Dickerson, avoiding a collision with Brandon Phillips. That's the first time we've seen anybody run up the aisle. All right, Chris goes back to his position. 2-2 the count to Jason Schmidt. Michael Owings ready, delivers, fastball popped in the air. This time Dickerson will have a play and in fair ground and makes the catch for the out. So Jason Schmidt, his first at bat, makes contact and flies to right. And the batter is Rafael Furcal, who ignited the fuse in the first inning with that slap bunt over the head of Edwin Encarnacion that went down the line for a double. And eventually Furcal scored. Rafael hitting .253, 4 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Pretty consistent. Hitting .252 left, .247 right, and having a big month of July, hitting .328. Owings ready, and his first pitch down and away. So the hitter is flourishing in July, and the pitcher has been wilting. 1 ball and no strikes to Rafael. Owings ready to come back. 1-0, and the fastball low and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Reds gave Owings 3 runs in the first inning, and he gave 4 of them back. And the 2-0 pitch for Call, a one-hopper. Oh, what a backhanded short hop play by Votto, who takes it to the bag. You talk about a big league play. How in the world they can react that quickly, because Furcal crushed it, and Votto makes a wonderful play. So 2 down in the second inning. Using his right hand, he acted like he was on a turntable as he short hopped the ball and then just spun around, and in one graceful moment went to the bag. Joey Votto, V-O-T-T-O. Great play. Now Martin is single to left field in the first inning and singles to left center here in the second. Over to get it is Taveras. So Martin, a 2-out single to center, and that'll bring up Manny. So you know you can set sail with the Dodgers on a fishing adventure Thursday. Join Brent Leach and James McDonald on a private chartered fishing boat for a day of deep sea fishing. You can call 323-224-2646 or visit Dodgers.com/DodgerLife. All right, Manny Ramirez checking in with Martin at first, 2-out second inning, and the Dodgers leading the Reds 4-3. Manny struck out on a couple of good high fastballs in the first inning. During this homestand, this is the 5th game, he is 2 for 15. And the first pitch snakes low and away, ball 1. So after working him high, Owings started down and away. That 2 for 15 translates to a 133 batting average. And of the 15 at bats, Manny has struck out a half a dozen times. 1-0 the count. Owings ready, comes back with the same pitch, even lower, and this time it's in the dirt. So 2 balls and no strikes. And he backs out, thinking about the sequence, what he's gotten, what he might get. Owings, meanwhile, standing on the grass to the right of the mound before getting back up on top. 4-3 Dodgers, and we're only in the 2nd inning. 2-0 the count to Manny Ramirez. Owings at the belt, looks over at Martin with 2 out. Now the pitch to Manny is swung on, and a high drive to deep left field. She is gone. And the Dodgers lead 6-3. Pitch down just above the belt, and I mean, did he ever drive it? His last home run he hit in Milwaukee against Braden Looper on the 10th of July. So the Dodgers now lead 6-3. The chant Manny, Manny, and Ethier holds up on a pitch low. Crowd wants him to take a curtain call. Russell Martin tells him, but Manny just sits quietly on the bench with a big grin on his face. And Martin said, well, okay. Russell walks away. So Manny Ramirez breaks the tie that he had with Mickey Mantle. The pitch is outside. A lot of home runs. 537. Mike Schmidt had 548. Ethier takes away ball 2, 2-1 to count. So the Dodgers with a handy lead now 6-3. And Micah Owings pitching as poorly as we've seen him pitch, coming off a bad game back on the 10th of July. Now the 2-1 pitch on the way, and Ethier swings and lifts one to straightaway center. Starting back was Taveras, but then he comes in a step and makes the catch for the 3rd out. But Manny Ramirez hits one halfway up in the left field pavilion, and the Dodgers lead 6-3. Dodgers lead the Reds 6-3 after spotting them a 3-0 lead in the first inning. Manny Ramirez hits his 10th home run of the year. He has 31 runs batted in and 537 in his career. For Micah Owings, a dreadful month of July, to say the least. And for Owings, he has now allowed 15 home runs. Third inning, 6-3 Dodgers. Joey Votto tries to time an off-speed curveball. It's a little fly ball that Furcal will get under and make the catch. Flanked by Casey Blake and Manny Ramirez. Nice play by Rafael. So one away. So Furcal makes the Willie Mays basket catch on the dead run. And Brandon Phillips will be coming up. Well, the lights have now started to take effect, and I'm sure all of the players are grateful for that. First inning is so very tough. Here is Brandon Phillips. 31 members of the 30-30 club, but only 2 of them have been second basemen. Of the 31 other Reds to do it, Eric Davis and Barry Larkin, but the 2 second basemen to do it, Alfonso Soriano and Brandon Phillips. Phillips takes a strike, then a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Brandon last year got a Gold Glove for a lot of reasons. He led the league in total chances, fielding percentage, putouts, and assists. The 1-1 pitch, Brandon nubs one to the left of the mound. Up with it is Smith to throw him out. So Jason got a little bit of a boost on the diving catch by Matt Kemp of the little fly ball by Willie Taveras, and is now retired 5 in a row. And he works on Lance Nix, N-I-X. Lance out of Texas. Left-hand batter, basically a center fielder, playing left field tonight. Quarterback in high school, but baseball was really his choice. An even 6 at 200 pounds. And hits a little fly ball to left. Manny coming up and picks it off on the run. So Schmidt now is retired 6 in a row. And as he walks off at the end of 2.5 innings, Dodgers 6, Reds 3. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Casey Blake, James Loney, and Matt Kemp in that order. And the fastball a little low, ball 1, 1-0. In the Dodger dugout, Jason Schmidt, who made 36 pitches in the first inning, has certainly whittled it down. 15 pitches in the second inning and only 5 pitches in the third inning. So he's made 56, and they've been talking about 100 pitches. It remains to be seen, but so far so good. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way. Blake holds up. The pitch is off the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike. Dodgers and Reds to repeat the somewhat staggering numbers. The Dodgers have beaten the Reds 9 straight times here at Dodger Stadium. They've beaten them 17 of the last 20 meetings, going all the way back to 2006. Schmidt pitching tonight, making his debut, and the Dodgers trying to give plenty of run support. Blake fouls off the next one, and the count 2-2. For Joe Torre, trying to get his club to their 59th win, which would get them 25 games above 500. The Reds are 3 games under. 2-2 the count to Casey Blake. Owings into the windup. Micah delivers, and that's hit down the right field line, slicing as she goes foul into the lower deck. Though Casey will come back. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Casey Blake doubled the left center in the first inning. James Loney singled in the first inning, and then Matt Kemp, who has made the diving catch in the top of the second. 2-2 the count. Owings into the windup, and the 2-2 fastball is low, down and away. Micah hits 90 with his fastball. 3-2 the count. 6-3 Dodgers in the third. Now the 3-2 pitch on the way. Fastball fouled away. To repeat, the Giants lost, so a Dodger victory would put them 8.5 games in front of San Francisco. All right, Blake staring out at Owings. Owings staring down at Blake. 3-2 the count. Owings ready, delivers a high chopper over the mound, charging as Hairston makes the play in time for the out, and we have 1 away. His name is Frank Parker, and he's 87 years old, and he threw out the first pitch tonight. He and his wife Marty attended the first ever Dodger game in LA at the Coliseum. They were here for the only All-Star game at Dodger Stadium, and they were here for the Yankees-Dodger World Series. He was a World War II Navy veteran of Guadalcanal, father of 2, grandfather of 5, great-grandfather of 7, soon to be 8, and we were honored indeed, bless his heart, to have Frank Parker throw out the first ball. 1 away. James Loney takes ball 1. 1-0 the count. Owings gave up 4 in the first inning and 2 more in the second. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way, and that drops in at the last moment for a strike, and the count 1-1. Ramirez homered with Martin aboard. He might also have had Furcal aboard, except for that wonderful play by Joey Votto at first base. The 1-1 pitch on the way to James Loney. He holds up, and that's outside. Ball 2, 2-1. Dodgers 6 runs, 7 hits. The Reds 3 runs, 4 hits. Micah Owings came in with a record of 6-9, 1-1 lifetime. 2-1 pitch on the way is way outside. Ball 3. Throwing a lot of change-ups. 3-1 to count. I guess if you're hitting against a guy as big as Owings, he's 6'5" at 220, you'd expect everything to come up to home plate in a hurry. Now the 3-1 pitch on the way. Another change, and it's outside. Ball 4. So for Dusty Baker, a tough return. Seeing his club jump out in front for 3, and he was well aware as was everybody else with the Reds, about how Cincinnati has lost 9 straight here, 17 out of 20, etc. And he was talking about the law of averages before the game. And then when they got 3, he thought maybe so. Not right now. 6-3 Dodgers, 3rd inning. Loney at first and Matt Kemp at the plate. Matt popped to short in the 1st inning and made that diving catch of the ball hit by Taveras in the 2nd. Kemp holds up on a breaking ball for a strike, little slider, and the count 0-1. On deck, Juan Castro. This is the first game of a 3-game series with Cincinnati. Wednesday night, remember, that's Manny Ramirez bobblehead night, and that game is sold out. Strike 1 pitch is low. So the one thing we don't want you to do is to be inconvenienced. If you don't have a ticket, we don't want you to come out here and be turned away. You can catch his act any other game, but now Wednesday night. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Matt Kemp. Hitting .320. Over at first is Loney. And the 1-1 pitch is instead a throw to first. Kemp hitting .320 with 12 home runs, 58 runs batted in. Matt pays 1 price for his aggressive hitting. He leads the club in strikeouts. He does everything else so well. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the next pitch hits him in the small of the back. So Matt Kemp is hit by the pitch and jogs to first. Now remember, we did see Ryan Hannigan get hit on the back of the helmet, but no one takes any umbrage on this pitch. It just got away. Got him in the small of the back, just above the belt. So a walk followed by a hit batter. Runners at first and second, 1 out, and Juan Castro coming up. Dodgers are very fortunate in a couple of counts. Number 1, Orlando Hudson is okay. Yes, he had that left hand bend back yesterday, and everybody worried about his wrist. He was in pain for a moment. Castro takes a strike. However, Orlando said before the game tonight, no, it's okay. I have it taped, but it's okay, and I could play. So the Candyman sits it out. He's only missed 2 games this year. But boy, it shook up the town considering his medical history from last year. Fly ball to left field. Lance Nix is there. The runners hold. And with 2 down, Jason Schmidt coming up. What kind of a memory do you have? You remember 2007? Jeff Francis was pitching. Jason Schmidt, opening day, hit a home run against the Colorado left-hander. That was April the 9th. And by the way, it was the 7th home run of Jason Schmidt's career. So no surprise that even though he had a lengthy layoff, he made contact in the 2nd inning and fly to right. Although let's face it, Mike Owings is big, but he does not throw hard, or at least not consistently hard at all. There's his hard pitch down and away, fastball, and he seemed to overthrow. 1-0 the count. So a walk and a hit batter, and with 2 down, Dodgers lead 6-3, and Jason Schmidt at the plate. Owings due to bat 4th. When the Reds come up, there's a line drive speared by Hairston, taking a hit and a run batted in away from Jason Schmidt. That was an 87-mile-an-hour fastball, not much. At the end of 3, it's 6-3 Dodgers. Jack in the Box. Get the big deal today for just $2.99 plus tax. Choose a chicken sandwich or cheeseburger with 2 tacos and a 20-ounce drink. And by Verizon, America's largest mobile-to-mobile calling family. Right now it's time for our Aflac Trivia question, and it's rather appropriate. Which Hall of Fame pitcher hit his first career home run 40 years ago today while America celebrated the first moon landing? Neil Armstrong and Ed White. Which Hall of Fame pitcher hit his first career home run? We'll tell you the answer with a cute story about it in a little while. Meanwhile, Edwin Encarnacion, and ball 1. Encarnacion walked in the first inning. (6-3) Dodgers. Foul back, 1-1 the count. I would think now we'll really begin to concentrate on the number of pitches for Jason Schmidt. He's in the 4th inning and he's leading 6-3. Dropped that in nicely. There he is so far. A very bad first inning, but he's really cruised ever since. 2-2 the count. Encarnacion missed about 6 weeks with a bad wrist. Little foul. Coming back is Martin, but he's not going to have a play. Encarnacion is one of those players who is so laid back on and off the field. There are those who figured he wasn't hustling. And 2 years ago, when Jerry Narron was the manager, Narron was positive that he wasn't hustling. He failed to run out a pop fly. But Narron was looking at the ball. He didn't really see Encarnacion, but he wondered about whether he actually ran. So Narron went back into the dressing room, looked at the videotape, and on the videotape it showed that Encarnacion was not running on the pop fly. But by that time, Encarnacion was out on the field, and as he takes ball 4, Narron came back and took him out of the game. So Encarnacion at first, and the batter is Chris Dickerson, who fouled out to Casey Blake in the first inning. Chris hitting .271, 2 home runs, 13 runs batted in, and considering that he's a local boy, I'm sure he has a lot of friends and relatives here. 1 ball and no strikes. Chris at 6'3", 225. Hit 6 home runs for the Reds last year. 1-0. And ball 2. Dickerson trying to cut down on his strikeouts. 200 at bats, and he has struck out 53 times. That's okay if you hit a lot of home runs, but he has just 2. 3-0 the count. So Jason walked Encarnacion. Now falling behind 3-0 to Dickerson, Ryan Hannigan is on deck. And Honeycutt on the phone again. In that first inning, when Jason made 36 pitches, they had James McDonald up. 3-0 pitch. And that is low. So he has walked 2 with nobody out here in the 4th inning. McDonald is going to get up again. The batter is Ryan Hannigan. Meeting at the mound, and no doubt the bench whistled to go in and consume a little time. So Castro, Furcal, Martin, and Schmidt all put their heads together. And Ryan Hannigan, who lives in Andover, Massachusetts. Meanwhile, now that they've had the meeting, Honeycutt's decided, okay, I'll give him some more time. No timeout. So Jason Schmidt had walked one in the first inning. Then he hit Hannigan on the back of the helmet in the second inning. Now has walked Encarnacion and Dickerson back to back. Yeah, we were talking about Micah Owings not having pitched in 10 days. And then you put up that Jason Schmidt hasn't pitched in the big leagues in 765 days. Oh, sure, he pitched in Inland Empire and Albuquerque, but certainly not the same. And a strike to Hannigan. Hannigan is a very good defensive catcher, but he has opened up a lot of eyes right now anyway. Hannigan hitting .327. They lost Ramon Hernandez. He was doing all the work. Hannigan, however, has been in 50 some odd games. 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hannigan signed 7 years ago by the Reds. Finally made it briefly in '07 and then again last year. They say he is a terrific defensive catcher. He was rated the best defensive catcher in the International League last year. Excellent arm. 1-1. And he hits one foul back here. 1-2 the count. Dodgers 6 runs, 7 hits. The Reds 3 runs, 4 hits. Manny Ramirez hit a 2-run home run in the second inning. Hannigan with Micah Owings on deck. And remember, Owings is a very good hitting pitcher. 2-2. Looked like Jason trying to get a little something extra on that fastball. And Gunn registered 85. And remember, we said that most scouts say the gun is like 2 miles per hour above what it should be. So he gave it a little extra and he got 83. 2-2. Breaking ball, and down goes Hannigan. Good curve. 1 away. So Schmidt takes care of Hannigan. Big spinner was off the plate, and Hannigan never came close. Micah Owings struck out in the second inning. So you have 2 good hitting pitchers locked in tonight. Slow and in there for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. That is some slugging percentage, huh? For a pitcher? Wow. In the dirt. Great save by Russell Martin. 1 ball and 1 strike. That certainly looked like it was heading to be a wild pitch. That would be a big play with 2 on. And Martin shifting, got the glove down, got it between his wrists, held on to it. Catchers never get a round of applause. It's one of those amazing things. Yet that could be a huge play. 1-1. Fastball popped up. Loney in fair ground. Infield fly rule is called. That takes care of Owings. So with 2 down, runners at first and second, and Willie Taveras coming up. Taveras hit the very top of the left center field wall for a triple in the first inning. Hit a little flare into shallow center, and Matt Kemp made a diving catch to get him. But you're always expecting Taveras to bunt. One year he had 37 bunt singles. And that's a strike. 0-1. Taveras, 28 Christmas Day. Signed by the Indians when he was 17. Slow curveball, 0-2 the count. So Jason Schmidt recovering from a 36 pitch first inning and moving along nicely. One and two. You may or may not remember Brett Butler when he played for the Dodgers. One year he had 42 bunt singles. Taveras, a fly ball to center, and of course for a guy without any power, that's really a wasted at bat. So for the Reds, they have 2 on and nobody out, and they can't advance the runners. And at the end of 3.5 innings, 6-3 Dodgers. Hall of Fame pitcher hit his first career home run 40 years ago today after the first moon landing, and we told you we have a cute story. Well, it was Gaylord Perry, 1969 against the Dodgers. In those days, Gaylord Perry was a rookie pitching batting practice back in 1962, and a San Francisco sports writer hollered out to Alvin Dark, "That Perry kid's going to hit some home runs for you." And Dark turned to the writer and he said, "There'll be a man on the moon before Gaylord Perry hits a home run." That's ball one to Furcal. 7 years later, on this day, July the 20th, Neil Armstrong took one giant leap for mankind, and an hour after that, believe it or not, Gaylord Perry hit his first major league home run against the Dodgers at Candlestick. True story. Amazing. Man on the moon. Furcal, slap bunt double, and robbed of a hit by Votto when he drilled one in the second inning. From John Glenn going downrange to Neil Armstrong and Ed White on the moon, with all of the awful things that happen in between, price has been very, very high. Now all of a sudden space stations I heard a quote, but I'm not sure who the man was who said it, but they quoted him. He said, "It's time for us to leave the Earth." What he meant was is to really explore outer space, but no thanks. Brandon Phillips in and out. I was telling the fellas in the booth before the game something about the moon landing I'll never forget. In an elevator that evening in Las Vegas, it was during the All-Star break, and two men got on, really sharp dressers, silk suits, white on white shirts, glistening ties, and one said to the other, "So help me, did you see the man on the moon?" And the other fella said, "Yeah." Then there was a pause, and the second fella kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, "How long can you watch?" And I thought, boy, is that America? We just put a guy on the Earth to the moon. How long can you watch? But of course, this is a nation who lives with the press of the button, whether it was in the car to change the station or the remote control they call surfing. So how long can you watch? One out here in the fourth inning. It's 6-3 Dodgers. Martin with Manny Ramirez on deck. Braves knocked off the Giants 11-3. The Rockies got out in front and held on and beat the Rockies. The Rockies beat the Diamondbacks 10-6. Iannetta and Fowler hit home runs. Jorge De La Rosa was the winning pitcher. 3-0 the count to Russell Martin. And ball four. So that'll bring up Manny again. So Mike Owings and his rookie catcher Ryan Hannigan. And here's Ramirez. It was interesting in the first inning. Mike Owings kept the ball up on Ramirez and struck him out. And in the second inning, he got the ball down out over the plate just below the belt. And I mean, Manny hammered it. 10 home runs, 31 runs batted in, hitting .336, 3 for 16 since they opened up Dodger Stadium after the break. That's consistency, isn't it? 10 or more home runs for 18 years. Hit the bat. 0-1. Manny at 5.37. Here's Ritik the bat. Mike Schmidt at 5.48. Jim Thome has 5.57 at last count. Reggie Jackson hung him up after 5.63. One ball and one strike to Manny Ramirez. Ramirez is 37 years old. He was 37 the end of May. Up and in, ball 2, 2-1 the count. Jason Schmidt has been wild. He hit Hannigan in the helmet. He almost hit Encarnacion and Dickerson. Michael Owings has hit Kemp, walked Loney, and walked Martin. So neither pitcher thrown a lot of strikes, which is one reason why we're only in the bottom of the fourth. And that's popped in the air to right center. Coming in for it is Dickerson. 2 down. So Manny a fly ball on a changeup, and Andre Ethier coming up. Ethier doubled to right, and it was kind of payback on a ball hit in the first inning It appeared as if Ethier and Kemp had trouble seeing the ball, and it landed in front of Ethier. So then when Ethier hit the ball in the first inning, it appeared like Chris Dickerson had trouble seeing it, and it went for a double. So the first inning at this time of year can really be a nightmare, not just for outfielders, infielders too. It's just hard to see the ball. Beautiful sunsets and bright powder blue skies. That's fun, but not to find the ball. Andre hitting .255. Dodgers 6, Reds 3. Martin over there with 2 out, certainly a threat to go, although he hasn't been doing a lot of running of late. He has stolen 8 out of 12. Carlos Fisher, a right-hander, begins to throw now in the Cincinnati bullpen. Line down the line, foul. That pitch came right in on the hands, and boy, did Ethier turn on it. The gun said 87, though it was less than that. 0-1 to count. Look at that. Boy, that upper torso just spun around. Remember Ted Williams always talking about that inside pitch. The first movement is to get your hips out of the way. Ethier certainly did that. 0-1 to Andre. There goes Martin on a change, and the throw down is waiting for him to get there. He picked a great pitch to run on, a straight change, but Hannigan hung him out to dry easily. No runs, no hits, nobody left, and at the end of 4, 6-3 Dodgers.
Dodgers baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by Jack Daniels. Your friends at Jack Daniels remind you to drink responsibly.
6-3 in favor of the Dodgers as we go to the 5th inning with Frank Sinatra serenading the crowd. In other words, love you. Boom, boom. Crowd having a good time. It's a Friday night feeling on a Monday night. Hope you'll be out here enjoying the fun tomorrow night. And remember, Wednesday night, that's Manny Ramirez bobblehead night. It is sold out, so maybe you'll come by tomorrow. Manny tonight struck out, flied to right, and hit a 2-run home run. We'll see what he does on bobblehead night. Jason Schmidt has made 79 pitches. There's number 80, and it's ball 1 to Jerry Hairston. This, of course, a very important inning. What a story if he comes back, pitches 5, and picks up a victory. 1 ball and no strike. high, ball 2. Hairston doubled into the left field corner and hit into a force play. That's in there. It's not the Schmidt you used to see, not the guy throwing 95, striking out people. This has to be a crafty right-hander now. Fastball hit to the gap. Matt Kemp right there. One away in the 5th inning. Saturday, sports and entertainment collide on the field at the Hollywood Stars softball game presented by Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Enjoy softball at 5, the Dodgers and Marlins at 7:10. For tickets, call 866-DODGERS or visit Dodgers.com/Hollywood. Joey Votto, single to right field, stole a base, popped up, made a wonderful play on a ball hit by Furcal. And he hits one to count. So the last 3 outs have been balls hit to Matt Kemp, Taveras, Hairston, and now Votto. Matt's starting to go back, and the ball died on him. Instinctively, he kind of looks over at Ramirez. He'll probably hear from Manny. Votto, meanwhile, puts the helmet away, and Brandon Phillips coming up. Reds got 3 runs in the 1st inning. They looked like they were going to dismantle Dodger Stadium. They haven't had a hit since. Fastball strike. Taveras tripled, Hairston doubled, Votto singled, Phillips singled, and it looked like, whoa, they're going to just run the Dodgers right out of the ballpark. Nothing since. Ground ball, so there you have it. There's the base hit with 2 out. So Phillips 2 for 3, and the batter will be Lance Nix.
Coming to the plate, number 17.
That's hit number 5.
Lance Nix.
And you can see the pitch total 87. They were speculating the other day when they announced that he would pitch around 100 pitches. So we'll see. He needs to get Nix to qualify for a win. Lance 8 home runs, 24 runs batted in. As we mentioned earlier, they're without Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce, an outfielder, had 18 home runs, 41 runs batted in. Tried to make a diving catch against the Mets, David Wright, and fractured his wrist. So it could be they've lost Bruce for the rest of the year. Off speed for a strike. Big slow curveball in the 60s. So Jason Schmidt backed up now by Guillermo Mota. Trying to get through 5 anyway. 0-1. That missed. Jason's been pitching professionally since 1991. First came up to the National League with the Braves in 1995. So he certainly knows how to pitch. One ball, one strike. There goes the runner. Off-speed pitch, and the throw down gets away. Looked like the throw had him, and as Furcal tried to make the tag, it spun out of the glove. So Brandon Phillips gets away with it and steals second. For Phillips, he's now stolen 14 out of 21, but he looked like a dead duck until that ball came out. So now let's see if Nix can pick him up or not. 1 ball and 2 strikes. and popped up. Waiting for it now is Loney and Castro. It'll be Castro. So for Jason Schmidt, he went 5. He could pick up a victory. And at the end of 4.5, after 91 pitches, it's 6-3 Dodgers. Bottom of the 5th inning, and looking in the Dodger dugout, Jason Schmidt does not have any movement as if he's going to call it a night. He looks like a guy ready to go back out there, although a lot of fellas congratulated him. We'll just wait and see. 0-1 the count. Remember, Andre Ethier was at the plate when Russell Martin was thrown out trying to steal. 0-1 to Andre, hitting .255, 18 home runs, 57 runs batted in. 1-1. Dodgers have been in sole possession of first place for 93 consecutive days. It'll be 94 no matter what. High drive into deep right center field. Back goes Dickerson to the wall. It's gone. Andre Ethier hits his 19th, and the Dodgers lead 7-3. Pitch was down, maybe out of the strike zone, maybe just about at the knees. Most left-hand hitters love the ball down, and Ethier is not an exception as he drives it into the seats. For Andre, his last home run was in Milwaukee on the 11th of July. 15 of the 19 at home. Last year had 20. Sky's the limit for him. The 7-3 Dodgers. Home runs tonight by Ramirez and Ethier. And for Michael Owings, he is now allowed 16 home runs. And that's hit into left center field for a base hit. So Casey Blake is 2 for 3. The batter will be James Loney. Jared Burton begins to warm up, and Dick Pole has gone out to talk to Michael Owings again. So Dick Pole, who has certainly inspired, coached, and taught so many pitchers down through the years, out there trying to console Owens. Dick Pohl is from Trout Creek, Michigan. Lives in Dearborn Heights. Well, Dick has imparted a lot of wisdom to Mike Owings, but he can't throw the ball. And Owings now working on Loney, who is singled and walked. Dodgers have 7 runs and 9 hits in 4 innings plus against Owings, who is due to bat 4th when the Reds hit in the 6th inning. On deck, Matt Kemp. And that's a strike to Loney. So the Reds got 3 in the first inning and really have not been heard from since. Dodgers scored 4 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 here in the 5th that had men on base in every inning. No balls, 1 strike. Way outside. Game 2 tomorrow night. Homer Bailey will be on the mound, a right-hander for the Reds. Randy Wolf will be on the mound for the Dodgers. There goes the runner. The pitch missed. Great throw. Boy, they said that Ryan Hanigan has a fine arm, and they were not kidding. He threw out Martin easily, and he throws out Blake easily. Got a good pitch to handle, and look at that. I mean, it's there in plenty of time. So 1 away. Hanigan is 2 for 2 in hanging out the line. James McDonald begins to throw in the Dodger bullpen, so we'll see about Jason Schmidt. And Loney hits a fly ball to center. Taveras is there. 2 down. And the batter will be Matt Kemp. Micah Owings due to bat 4th when the Reds hit in the 6th inning. Jared Burton throwing back of him in the pen. Burton was just called up. Kemp popped to short and was hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning. Oh, and 1. The last player to score 4 runs and score all 4 runs for victory 4-3 was way back in 1990 by Eric Davis. And Eric Davis is in uniform in the Cincinnati dugout. Davis works with the Reds in spring training, trying to impart the wisdom that he had after his brilliant career. There he is. Spent some time with the Dodgers. Terrific guy. 1-2 the count. Eric Davis. Where in the world did 19 years go? That's when he scored the 4 to win 4-3. 7-3 Dodgers in the 5th inning. Eric with the Dodgers from 1992 and 93. Not long enough. Seven 3 Dodgers, 2 out, 2-2 the count to Kemp in the 5th inning. Down he goes on a low slider, and that's that. However, Efier takes him downtown. Matt Kemp stops to talk to Jerry Lane, and it's 7-3 Dodgers. by the name of Bill Singer pitched a no-hitter to beat the Phils 5-0. He wore contact lenses and had somewhat of an odd nickname, and all the players called him. He was Billy No-No. Where did the no-no come from? Well, he had the odd habit of when he ran, he moved his head back and forth. Looked like he was saying no. I don't know who pinned it on him, but it really stuck. Billy No-No, a no-hitter in 1970, the only Dodger no-hitter in the 70s. Let's go back to this one. James McDonald now picks up as we go to the 6th inning. Jason Schmidt a chance to pick up a victory, and it's ball 1 to Edwin Encarnacion. In order to make room for Jason Schmidt to pitch tonight and be on the 25-man squad, they sent left-hander Scott Elbert out. And after a very shaky first inning, he made 36 pitches. He really settled down. Fly ball to right. So Encarnacion goes down, 1 away. Since that first inning outburst, the Reds have just 1 hit. And the batter is Chris Dickerson. McDonald really worked to Dickerson. James from Long Beach, 6'5", about 195, and that's a strike to Dickerson. So a couple of local boys going head to head. Check swing. Seven to 3 Dodgers. Dickerson is 27. McDonald will be 25. Line drive. Oh, what a nice play by James Loney up the ladder to take a hit away from him. So the 2 outstanding defensive plays by first baseman tonight, Votto and now Loney, and the other, the diving catch by Matt Kemp way back in the 2nd inning. So 2 out, and here is Ryan Hannigan, who has certainly distinguished himself throwing darts to second base to shoot down Dodger base stealers Martin and Blake. Ball 1. Hannigan was hit on the back of the helmet leading off the 2nd inning. One and 0. And a hopper grabbed by Furcal. So a very easy inning. James McDonald sets him down 1-2-3, and at the end of 5.5 innings, it's 7-3 Dodgers. Wednesday night, but he didn't wait. He connected with a pitch down after the previous at-bat. Owings had struck him out up. So Manny now breaks the tie with Mickey Mantle, and the next target would be Mike Schmidt at 5:48. So as Manny observes, a couple of moves, Johnny Gomes comes in to play right field, and Carlos Fisher takes over on the mound. Carlos Fisher, a local boy, he's born in West Covina. He went to Lewis and Clark, drafted by the Reds. Fisher admits he was not much in school. He even referred to himself once as a knucklehead. Padres drafted him, but he passed that up. As a freshman at Citrus Junior College, he was an outfielder and then moved to the mound in sophomore year. Fastball hit foul down the line, 0-1. So Dickerson will come out. Gomes takes over in right. In the double switch, Gomes will bat ninth, and the pitcher Fisher will go in Dickerson's spot. Pretty good breaking ball, 0-2. Castro popped up, lined out, 0 for 2. Seven runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. Pretty good, nice, easy fastball at 94. And that was a great fastball. They talk about the ball coming out of a pitcher's hand. That thing really came out. Carlos Fisher, very impressive. Also, he would certainly appear to throw a lot harder than Michael Owings, who threw a lot of changeups. So here's James McDonald. And ball one. McDonald has had 6 at-bats in the big leagues this year. 0 for 6, struck out 4. On deck, Rafael Furcal. Fastball hit down to Hairston. Almost threw that away. 2 down. And the batter will be Rafael Furcal. Carlos Fisher, 2 years ago, was on 2 All-Star teams in the Florida State League and also the Southern League. Fastball, cutter, slider, and change. He's 6'3", 215. 26 years old. Rafael Furcal, a slap bunt double over the head of third baseman Edwin Encarnacion. Then he was robbed of a hit on a wonderful play by Joey Votto, and then last time up grounded out. So Rafael hitting .251. Reds got 3 in the first inning. Big chopper, tough play, ball didn't come up. Oh, great effort and play by Jerry Hairston to barehand that low bouncer and nail Furcal. Wow. They are outstanding, these big leaguers, at their best. Look at that. Ball didn't come up. He knew he couldn't glove it. And Dodgers lead the Reds 7-3. You want to know how tough it is to be an umpire? Let's take a look at that last play in real time. Slow roller, scoop, throw, bang. Now, he didn't have a chance to look at what happened, but look at this. Furcal's foot hangs in the air over the bag as the ball gets in the glove, and then it comes down. And Tony Randazzo right there and called it right on the money. They are amazing. We were talking about the big league players and how they do remarkable things. Big league umpires do a great job as well. Johnny Gomes, Gomes, born in San Francisco, lives in Petaluma, and skies one. It'll be Martin. Martin got rid of his mask so soon and then had to come back, and he almost stepped on it. His cap is out in front of the plate. As soon as it's hit, he thinks he has a play in fair ground, but now he's going to come back, and he came that close, inches of stepping on the mask. One away. A lot going on when you're behind the plate. Willie Taveras has tripled, lost a hit on a diving catch by Matt Kemp, and flied to center. Strike. 0-1 the count. Taveras has hit in 7 straight, 16 of the last 19. 0-2. I don't know how true, but some of the notes we have on Taveras, they talk about how he loves clothing. And a roommate a couple of years ago said he probably has 70 pair of jeans. That's a lot of jeans. 0-2 to Willie. James McDonald in relief of Jason Schmidt. Chopper to third. Casey Blake doesn't waste any time. So 2 out. McDonald has retired 5 in a row. You know, kids can train for the big leagues on the field at Dodger Stadium during the next Junior Dodger Training Day. That'll be Wednesday. Children 7 to 12 learn baseball skills from coaches and players. Receive a free Dodgers jersey, and to book your spot, visit Dodgers.com/Junior Dodgers or call 323-224-2646. Boy, as a kid growing up in the streets of New York, what I've loved when I was 8 years old to be able to be out on a big league field. Hairston doubled, hit into a force play, flied out, and made that wonderful play on the ball hit by Furcal. 7 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the Dodgers. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Reds. The 3 runs and the 4 hits in the first inning, and the Reds have had just 1 hit since, a 2-out single by Brandon Phillips into right field in the 5th inning. One and 2. Big overhand breaking ball. See you later. Jerry Lane called him out, and Russell Martin walked away from the plate long before I think Hairston realized it. So a 1-2-3 inning. The crowd is now asked to sing along with God Bless America.
gentlemen, it's now time for the California.
That's when the Dodgers exploded. First of all, it was Manny Ramirez burying one halfway up. And then in the fifth inning, Andre Ethier cleared the right field wall back into the pavilion. And the Dodgers now lead 7-3 as we go to the bottom of the seventh inning. Martin, Ramirez, and Ethier in that order. Martin singled twice and walked, 2 for 2. And ball one from Carlos Fisher. Fisher retired the side in the sixth inning. It took a wonderful play, however, by Jerry Hairston on Rafael Furcal. That's fouled away. So Jason Schmidt made 36 pitches in the first inning, gave up a triple, double, single to the first 4 hitters. The crowd rumbling. They were very unhappy, not to mention Jason's frame of mind. He gave up 3 runs and then really turned it around. Made 15 pitches in the second inning, made only 5 pitches in the third inning. Labored in the fourth. I'm sure he was starting to tire. Then got through the fifth inning with 1 hit and has a chance to pick up a victory. Show you how things have turned around for the Reds. They started the game 4 for 4. Since then, they're 1 for 21. That was the single by Phillips in the fifth inning. So for Dusty Baker, his cars just broke down in the desert. Johnny Lee, the Rage from Riverside. And that's going to be smoked into right. So for Russell Martin, bidding for a perfect night, he is 3 for 3 with a walk. And the batter will be Manny Ramirez.
Number 99, Manny Ramirez.
For Carlos Fisher, he had never faced the Dodgers before. So this will be his first experience pitching to Manny. Fisher from West Covina, so I'm sure he saw a few games here at Dodger Stadium. That's low, ball one. As we mentioned, it looked like Owens struck him out up and then gave up the home run down. 1-0 to Manny, hitting .333, 10 home runs, 31 runs batted in. He is 1 for 3 tonight. That would make him 3 for 17 since we broke the seal on this homestand. Remember, the Reds here tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and then the weekend with Florida. 2-0. And that's going to be hit up the middle, base hit. Well, for Fisher, some consolation, he kept it in the ballpark. But he gives up back-to-back singles. And here comes Andre Ethier. It was interesting before the game. I was going to go into the Cincinnati clubhouse and just say hello to Dusty Baker, who's an old friend. But when I got in the clubhouse, the door was closed. And I said to a player whom I didn't know, I guess he's having a meeting. And the player said, yeah, we're trying to figure out how to get Manny Ramirez out. Well, they figured it out twice. Struck out, flied out, but he's also gotten a home run and now a single. 0-1 to Ethier. Doubled and homered. Andre got a little bite on that foul ball. You may remember yesterday he fouled one off his knee. Had put him to the ground on his knees, then got up and got a base hit, and he had a 3-hit game yesterday. So with a double and a home run, he's had 5 hits in his last 6 at-bats. Martin at second, Ramirez at first, nobody out. 0-1 to Andre. That's on the outside corner. 0-2. Carlos Fisher. Fisher in his 19th game, he's 1-0 with an ERA of 3. Fastball up at 91. He hit 94 back in the last inning. 1-2. Dodgers trying to add to a 7-3 lead, and that makes it 2 balls and 2 strikes. 7 runs, 11 hits for the Dodgers, 3 runs, 5 hits for the Reds, and we're in the 7th. On deck, Casey Blake. Fisher asking Hannigan to go over the signs again. So Ryan will shuffle the cards. Two and two. Pick off at shortstop. Hairston to the bag, but no throw. Reds scored 3 in the first. Dodgers came back with 4. Added 2 more in the second and added 1 more in the 5th. And down goes Ethier with the runners holding. Pretty good breaking ball, just about down in the dirt. 1 out, and Casey Blake coming up right there. Blake has doubled and singled in 3 trips, 2 for 3. And ball 1. Tomorrow night, Homer Bailey against Randy Wolf. Wednesday night, Manny Ramirez bobblehead night. Bronson Arroyo, a 10-game winner, and he'll go against Chad Billingsley, who's visiting with Randy Wolf. One and one. One ball and 1 strike to count. Blake 2 for 3. Loney on deck is 1 for 2. The bottom of the Dodger lineup, Kemp, Castro, and Schmidt, have been held without a hit. Russell Martin has 3 hits and a walk. 1-1 to Casey. And that's fouled away. 1-2. Casey hitting .283, 12 home runs, 57 runs batted in, trying to pick up Martin and Ramirez. Big crowd on hand, especially for Monday night. 2-2. Dodgers have been averaging 43.6. They're just under 2 million. And in looking at the size of this crowd tonight, it's a cinch. They go over 2 million in attendance this evening. Two and two to Casey with 1 away and 2 on. 7th inning. Smothered by Hannigan. So 3-2 with 1 out. And James Loney on deck. So a moment of truth for young Carlos Fisher. The runners go, and it's swung on and missed. A throw to third, and Hannigan gets another. Ryan Hannigan has gotten Martin twice and Blake. So the young catcher is 3 for 3. Dodgers come up empty, but they lead 7-3. The AT&T Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Jason Schmidt, he was the big story coming in tonight. Went 5, made a total of 81 pitches, but recovered nicely after a 36-pitch first inning. and wound up giving 3 earned runs, and he has a shot to win it. James McDonald working the 8th, and ball 1 to Joey Votto. Votto is the most consistent hitter, not only with the Reds, but around the league, I think. His overall batting average is .347. With runners in scoring position, he's hitting .344. At home, he's hitting .351. On the road, he's hitting .345. Against right-hand pitching, he's hitting .341. Against left-handers, .358, and hitting .339 in July. I mean, he's just dynamite. Joey Votto, 1 for 3 as he draws a walk.
Second baseman, Brandon Phillips.
And the batter now will be Brandon Phillips. The Reds are in good hands, even though they are a ball club struggling 5.5 back of the Cardinals and 3 games under 500. They have a new general manager, Walt Jocketty, to go right along with Dusty Baker. Jocketty, of course, for years a very successful GM with St. Louis. And it might take a little time, but you can bet he'll bring this Reds team around. Brandon Phillips is 2 for 3. Single in the first inning and single in the 5th. His base hit in the 5th inning is the only hit the Reds have had since the first inning. They just stopped. Brandon, a Gold Glove. 2 years ago, it was interesting. He runs very well, but it was an interesting set of numbers. He had 32 stolen bases. That's great. But he grounded into 26 double plays. He was the first National Leaguer to do that. His dad was a wide receiver at Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. Met his wife, a power forward, on the school's basketball team. His older brother played in the Rangers system, and his sister, her name is Portia, is a nationally ranked sprinter and top-ranked basketball player. And he has a younger brother, little brother PJ, who's in the Angels organization, and he says he'll be a better baseball player than he is. Well, that is typical of an older brother. I think every time I have ever heard an older brother who's in the big leagues always talking about his younger brother in the minors, they always say he's a better player than I am. 2-0. Strike. Phillips hitting .269, 14 home runs, 63 runs batted in. They offered him a scholarship to go to the University of Georgia, but he signed with the Expos instead. All 3. Brandon, 28, facing young James McDonald, who's 24. 3-1 the count to Phillips. And that's on the corner. 3-2. The Reds signed Phillips in February of last year to a 4-year deal, so he figures to be around a while. And ground ball, base hit. So Brandon Phillips comes up with his 3rd hit. 2 singles to right, now a base hit to left. And the batter will be Lance Nix. So Votto and Phillips trying to get something started against James McDonald. Martin out to talk to McDonald. Lance Nix flied to center, flied to left, and popped up. So he's been nixed so far. Lance, at the start of this year, had a career batting average of .235, so he's above that, hitting .246. If McDonald runs out of gas, and he might very well have done that right now, Joe Torre is heading for the mound. Down in the pen, Ramon Troncoso, who gives you the opinion that he pitches every day. And Troncoso will be summoned from the pen. Out goes McDonald with the Dodgers leading 7-3 and nobody out in the 8th, and we'll be back. Singled his 3rd hit, and that was enough. James McDonald comes out, worked 2 innings plus. McDonald gave up a hit, a walk, had a strikeout, made 28 pitches, and now it's up to Ramon Troncoso. Troncoso has a string, last 14 games, 16 consecutive innings without allowing an earned run. In his last 25 appearances since the end of May, Troncoso's earned run average is 1.2. However, as good as he's been at Dodger Stadium in ERA 3, he has been out of sight on the road. His earned run average on the road is 0.3, 1/3 of a run. Sinker ball specialist Ramon Troncoso. Ball 1. Lance Nix, 8 home runs, 24 runs batted in. At Nashville a couple of years ago, he hit 24. That was his high on home runs in the minor leagues. He has 7 and added to that number 8 this year. Hits a ground ball to the hole, off the glove of Castro into right field. They will wave one runner in, and head first into 3rd goes Phillips. So Votto scores, and the Dodger lead is 7-4. Castro unable to get his glove on the ball to keep it in play. Hard ground ball off the glove and on through into right field. It will be an error charged to Castro since the ball was hit to his gloved side. No RBI. Votto comes home. That run is charged to McDonald. And now Edwin Encarnacion with runners at 1st and 3rd and nobody out. Encarnacion walked twice against Jason Schmidt and flied to right against McDonald. Drew Sutton coming out on deck. Sutton as a pinch hitter. Ball 1, 1-0. That's a strike. 1-1. 7 runs, 11 hits for the Dodgers. They've committed 2 errors. And the Reds 4 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Though they have Nix at first, Phillips at third, nobody out. Fastball hit down to Furcal. The feed to Castro. He'll turn it in the dirt to Loney. Scoring on the play is Phillips. That makes it Dodgers 7 and the Reds 5. But Encarnacion hits into the DP 6-4-3. Now here comes Drew Sutton coming up out of Jackson, Tennessee. Sutton, a switch hitter batting left-handed, went to school at Baylor and was originally signed by the Astros 5 years ago. He had a big fall league in Arizona at the end of last year. Sutton just 0 for 5. He's 6'3", 195, and just turned 26. Foul back. The Astros were just here. You may remember a fellow who played third base and second base. The thing about him is he walks more than he strikes out. His name, Jeff Keppinger. Well, Sutton was in the deal that sent Keppinger from Cincinnati to Houston. 0-1. Check swing. They look. No swing, says Mike Winters. Interesting that Drew Sutton, in trying to improve his swing, worked with a former golf pro who uses a computer modeling as a learning tool. One and two. Sutton 6'3", 195, hit 20 home runs last year at Corpus Christi. Hit 5 at Louisville before they called him up this year. 2-2. Sutton with the catcher Ryan Hannigan on deck. So it's been Schmidt for 5, McDonald for 2, and now Troncoso. 7-5 Dodgers in the 8th inning. And see you later. No mulligans here. So down goes Sutton. However, the Reds get 2 to get a little closer. Dodger lead is 7-5. He was born in Washington, lives in Andover, Massachusetts. He'll be 29 the minute of August. And what an arm. In the fourth inning, with Russell Martin trying to steal, he shot him down easily. In the fifth inning, Casey Blake trying to steal. See you later. And with the runners going, he hung Martin out to dry again at third base. Ryan Hannigan. He would not be playing. Ramon Hernandez, who is the regular catcher, is out with a bad knee for a couple of weeks. That gives Ryan a chance to impress, and boy, he has made the most of it. Daniel Herrera, a watch charm left-hander. He's about 5'8" maybe, and weighs around 140 pounds. He's out of Odessa, Texas. 25 years old. That's a strike to Loney. Daniel signed by the Rangers 3 years ago in the 45th round. And I'm sure everybody was a little reluctant to take him because of his size. They like big league pitchers to be 6'2", 6'3", 195, that type. Breaking ball off the plate. 1-2 the count. Loney followed by Kemp, followed by Castro. Off speed, a change a little low. 2-2. I think he thought he might have had that. Went to Permian High School in Odessa. Went to school at the University of New Mexico. Big breaking ball just off the plate. Fastball, change, slider, and a screwball that he uses. And just missing, and he walks Loney. So Daniel Herrera picking up for Carlos Fisher, who picks up for Michael Owens. Matt Kemp, after a big day yesterday, comes back to earth tonight. Popped a short, hit by a pitch, struck out. But for a dozen games, he had 12 RBIs and hit .444. Fastball in for a strike, 85 miles an hour. Loney at first has stolen 6 out of 7. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Jonathan Broxton is loosening up. Off-speed pitch is hooked into left field for a base hit for Matt. So the Dodgers, with a 7-3 lead, suddenly 7-5, trying to add to it. You know, Dodger Town now is a home with its very own zip code, 90090. In celebration, the Dodgers are offering $90,099 seats, including games with the Reds and the Marlins. So visit Dodgers.com/eSavers, enter promo code KEMP27. So here's Castro with 2 on and nobody out. On deck, Mark Loretta would bat for Troncoso. The Reds are certainly looking bunt from Castro. They know him very well. Seven 5 Dodgers, bottom of the 8th. The bunt fouled away. When the Reds come up in the 9th, they are due to send up the catcher Ryan Hannigan, then Johnny Gomes and Willie Taveras. Taveras is 1 for 4 with a triple. Hanna is 0 for 2. Gomes 0 for 1. Castro's bunt gets it down. Hannigan throws to third. He's done it again. Ryan Hannigan, remarkable young catcher. What an arm. So because of Hannigan, Castro bunts into a force play. So he gets Loney easily. So it's a force play. 2-5. Down to second goes Kemp. And with one out, Mark Loretta now coming up. Ryan Hannigan from Andover, Massachusetts. Always a nice feeling to watch a young player burst upon the scene, do well. He's doing that. He went to Rollins College in Florida. So here's Loretta, the pride of Northwestern. One out, eighth inning, 7-5 Dodgers. That's a strike. Oh and 1. Hit foul off to the right out of play. 0-2 the count. Dodgers at first and second, one out. Loretta hitting .280 against left-hand pitching. This time pops it up in the air, foul. Votto along with Hannigan, and it is Hannigan, and the runners hold. So Loretta fouls out to the catcher, 2 down, and Rafael Furcal will be coming up. Daniel Herrera trying to get a third out after walking Loney and giving up a base hit to Kemp. Castro bunted into a force. Loretta fouls out. Furcal is 1 for 4. Could be more than that. Votto short hopped and backhanded a bullet in the second inning. And Hairston made a great running play to barehand the ground ball and throw him out in the 6th. Off speed. I think that was the screwball. They call it a changeup, but he definitely turned that thing over. He twists his wrist, and the ball is really guided with his middle finger. Fastball popped in the air. Votto across the line and can't make it. You see those high foul balls near the stands, and there always seems to be some wit of a draft. If you look at the flags, there isn't a breath of air, not a breath. But the trajectory will fool a lot of people, and it fooled Votto. He's under it, and the ball is really behind him. So Joey can't make the play. He'll draw an error. Herrera should be out of the inning, and he's not. 0-2 to Rafael Furcal. Foul back. Challenged him with a fastball that time. Came right back at him. Herrera, look at that hat. That's right down on his eyebrows. A lot of players will do that, especially pitchers. It's like maybe a horse running with the blinders. It helps concentrate on the hitting zone. But that's as low as you'll see a hat. That you under there, Daniel? Time. Hannigan going out to talk to him. 7 runs, 12 hits for the Dodgers. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Reds. Reds scored 3 in the first inning. Dodgers came back with 4, added 2 in the second, and another in the 5th. They've had home runs by Ramirez and Ethier. The Reds offense stopped completely after the first inning. They had a single in the fifth, and then in the eighth, on an error by Castro on a ground ball that he would normally field, they wound up scoring twice. So the Dodgers trying to make it a little more comfortable going into the ninth inning. Off speed, boy, Matt Kemp really taking a big lead on that pitch. Matt, who does everything so well, has stolen 20 out of 24. Rafael 1 for 4 tonight. Wails at the pitch and comes up empty. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. And here we go to the ninth inning. Dodgers 7, Reds 5, and enter Jonathan Broxton. With a runner aboard in the second inning, it was time for the Mercedes attention assist of the game, and it was provided by Matt Kemp. A diving, sprawling catch for the second out in the second inning to slow down the Reds. You know, as the Dodgers bring in Jonathan Broxton and the crowd reacts, after all, Big John has 22 saves in 24 opportunities. It should be noted that the Reds have a brilliant reliever. Their closer is Francisco Cordero, and Francisco has 22 saves in 23 opportunities. So it would be interesting if those two get locked up in a game. But right now, 7-5 Dodgers in the ninth with Hannigan, Gomes, and Taveras, and in the background, Black Sabbath playing Iron Man with Ozzy Osbourne doing the lyrics. I didn't know that. Rob Menchel and Boyd Robertson told me. I wouldn't know Black Sabbath from Rainy Tuesday. All right, Big John in the ninth. Ryan Hannigan has had a great night throwing the ball. Not much of a night trying to hit it. Hit by a pitch, struck out, grounded out, 0-for-2. Little pop fly, Castro going out and makes the catch going away. Fine play by Juan to go out into right field. One down, and Johnny Gomes will be coming up. And of course, for Broxton, nice to get an out on one pitch. He made 12 pitches yesterday, and he also pitched Saturday night. So Castro takes care of the first out, and now here's Gomes, who fouled out in the seventh inning, 0-for-1, hitting .307. Remember the astonishing numbers. The fact that the Dodgers have beaten the Reds 9 straight times here at Dodger Stadium, They have beaten them 17 of the last 20 games. In fact, the last time the Reds beat the Dodgers was July of 2005. They had a pitcher named Brandon Clausen, and he beat the Dodgers 6-1. 4 years. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Gomes with Taveras on deck. One and 2. Talking about remarkable numbers, how about Broxton? 70 strikeouts, 19 walks. One and 2. They're going to check no swing, says Tony Randazzo. This crowd, of course, wants every pitch to be a strike. Talking about the crowd, the paid attendance for tonight's game, and quite a few folks have headed home. 48,110. I mean, the good folks were here. The faithful were out in numbers. And the Dodgers go over 2 million. Hello there, Sugar. 2 and 2. Boom. See you later. And for Johnny Lee Baker, right on the edge of losing another one. That has to be maddening for the Reds. What's taking place here at Dodger Stadium? One thing, Dusty still working on that that toothpick. Always scared me to death watching him do that he'd swallow it. All right, here's Willie Taveras. Tripled, fly to center twice, grounded out. Dodgers 1 out away from beating the Reds 10 straight at Dodger Stadium. That's a strike. Remember, the Brewers have beaten the Pirates 18 straight at home. Oh and 1. And a fly ball to right. Ethier on the dead run. He can keep on going to the clubhouse. So the Dodgers win again against Cincinnati. 7 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors. For the Reds, 5 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. Offensive highlights provided by Ramirez with a home run, Ethier with a home run, and Russell Martin going 3.